Welcome, welcome, Capsulators. This is WhoisAFish with Talking in Stations, and today we're going to be welcoming some very special guests, Xenon and Hexalyse, who are both two Eve Echoes content creators who've made zKillboards for Echoes without any API. We were unfortunately going to have Squizz, who made the original zKillboard, but he's not going to be able to join us today. But we're still really excited to talk about the Eve Echoes killboards and how these two gentlemen have created these tools without any API. Now, first, before we continue, can anybody give me a mic check and let me know if we sound good? I'll wait a few seconds, and if I don't hear back, I will just continue on, and then we will get to introduce our guests.
Yep, 1, 2, 3, check.
Should be working.
All right. All right, then sounds like we're going to be good. So, Drac, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 31 years old, living in Germany, and I started playing EVE Online back in 2007. Was introduced by a coworker back then, and I played until 2014, 2015, so about 8 years. I then quit because, yeah, like everyone in here knows, EVE Online is taking a lot of your free time. And when I heard that there's a mobile version coming, I was very excited and yeah, started playing EVE Echoes right on launch day.
Very nice. And did you find that Eve Echoes takes less time than Eve Online?
No, quite the opposite with recent development of the tools.
It's almost
But
more
yeah,
difficult because you can take it wherever you go. So it's almost like it's Eve Online anywhere. So it becomes almost like more time consuming, I feel like.
yeah, definitely. But the big plus for me is that you can play on the couch when the wife is sleeping.
Yep, of course. And Hex, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so as I tried to play EVE Online. Actually, I joined EVE Online multiple times over the year. I think the first time was in 2011, but I never really got into a big corporation. It was already kind of advanced, and I was a bit late to join the party, I think. And so yeah, I just kind of gave up with EVE Online, and back in September, I think, or end of August, I heard about EVE Echoes. So after launch, unfortunately, I didn't start as soon as the game launched, but once I heard about this game, I was like, yay, finally an occasion to join the EVE universe. And so I did, and yeah, indeed, it takes even more time than EVE Online, probably.
It's so ironic. It's definitely a lot of people think that the mobile game is going to be more casual, and it ends up sucking up so much time. So Drac, can you explain what EE kills is, and what is the significance, I guess, with kill mails? Why are these important to the community?
EE Kills is my first try at a EVE Echoes killboard. Um, I think the importance is mostly because people like to compare. The thing about EVE is that you have to gain a lot, but you can lose a lot. And to display what you lost and what you gained is quite important for the players.
Of course, of course. Now I'm just going to pop up the EE kills on the screen, and then if you kind of want to tell
Yeah.
us a little bit about what gave you the idea, what inspired even just the looks of it. So here is EE kills, and we're just scrolling down. So tell us a little bit about
Okay.
how you made EE kills.
First of all, the big inspiration was, of course, zKillboard for EVE Online. And I made it using HTML and CSS for the front end. And on the back end, we've got a MariaDB running with PHP 7.
Oh wow, this
It
is
parses a lot of the data when you load it, so it's really fast. And yeah, it shows on the front page 12 kills each, and then you can load more.
Oh, and I love how you can post it on Discord, so you can humbly brag about your kills, and you can post them to Discord right from your site.
Yeah, that's a bot only implemented for a few corps and alliances. Everyone can contact me if they want to set this up. And when you click on it, a little image gets generated with the loss or the kill date and the total value of the kill and the ship icons, and it gets posted into your Discord channel of choice.
Oh, very, very cool. And now I'm going to kind of switch over. Hex, I'm going to show the no, please stop website, and then you can kind of give some feedback into what your kill parser bot does and some of the differences between the two.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. So yeah, I went kind of a different route because, as we said, since we don't have an API, we don't really have a central source of truth of what everybody kills and lose. So you could be incentivized to kind of lie and cheat. So I went the route of I will make a bot that you can use on Discord that will parse the kill mails. So since you don't have an API, people were just posting screenshots of their kill mails. And what I did is just a tool that takes those screenshots, parse the information, and allows you inside your corp or alliance to get statistics like how much you killed in the last day, how much you killed in the last month. So this way, there is no goal, there is no cheating possible because it's an internal tool only for you. And yeah, I made also this website that used the database of this bot for my alliance, so it's no. But the bot is run in a lot of servers of different alliances, and yeah.
So, what is your experience with programming? What gave you the idea to make this kill parser bot for Discord?
Oh, I'm just a developer by job, and yeah, I was in. I think it was back when I was playing in Silent Alliance. Like fleet commanders, at the end of a big battle, usually they want to know how much you killed and how much you lost to be able to follow how you did, basically. Because as we were explaining, it's really important in this game. And the only way to do this was to manually count the value of every kill mail, and it was a lot of work every time. So I was like, wait, since we post every screenshot in Discord, it would be cool if we had a bot that just basically did this job for us. And that's how it started.
And have you noticed there's a pretty good success with people posting their kill mails versus lost mails? I know a lot of people have been interested to see both sides. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, people usually post all their kill mails because they are really proud of it. It's a bit more complicated to get people to post lost mails, especially the shameful ones. So yeah, that's
So,
the problem.
so that can always skew the data. So I know that you guys kind of spoke to each other a little bit when you guys were building out your tools. What were some of the things that you guys kind of came up or noticed that were different between your tools? Drac?
Yeah, we started talking. When I was having the idea for a killboard, I knew I had to parse the screenshots, just like Hexa did. And I just wanted to save the time and use this bot. But about 1 week after we made contact, I got into contact with another one that set up an API for Amazon text track, which is just giving me every text found on the screenshot. And then I wrote my own algorithm to parse it and to get the right system, ships, and stuff like that.
Oh, that's really cool.
The
So it came from
big
so it was something that they used for Amazon though.
Amazon text track is a plug-in you can basically use. You pay for the time used to parse the screenshots, and then it gives you back an array of text. An array is a lot of text separated, basically.
Yep, that
And
makes
then I
sense.
have a database full of ships, full of systems, regions, and I try to narrow it down because a lot of times the resolution of the screenshot isn't that good. And when you're looking for a crop tag, for example, it could be the square bracket, but it could be a pipe symbol or a small L that gets returned. So I'm using an algorithm to narrow it down, and I'm quite good in getting all the core tags, all the ships, all the systems. I've got a lot of problems with the player names, which is why I skipped this completely. And that's a big difference between Hexa and my killboard parser.
Ah, okay. So you found that it was more difficult for you to be able to track the names. Just is it because of special characters?
Latin characters are fine. The big problem with Chinese signs, because
Ah,
text track doesn't return anything for them.
oh, that's too bad.
So when you sign in to use e-kills, you have to get verified. And when you then post a kill or loss, I for sure know who was killed or who killed. And when someone posts a loss to a kill mail, I then know who was the guy losing the ship. So this data is 100% accurate without me actually having to read the name. The only problem with this is, but that's a problem for all screenshot parsers, that you don't have all parties involved,
Ah, I
which is
see.
a shame.
I see. So you're not able to see everybody who is associated to that kill mail.
Correct.
That makes sense. So if you guys were to have API, how would you approach your tool differently? Hex, why don't I start with you?
Yeah, well, yes, thank you. I explained the big challenge was OCR, which means optical character recognition. Basically, you have an image and you have a program that basically just reads and the text that is on the image and transform it into just text. And this is really the complicated part, especially with like bad screenshot, with bad resolution and everything. So yeah, I did the same as him. I have a big list of, for example, ship names, and I do fuzzy matching to try to correct mistakes. And well, if we had API, we would just do completely differently in the way that, in the sense that we don't have to parse anything from images. We would just plug into this API, which is just something that you can plug into from the editor of the game. And it will give you all the information you want about every kill mail in a well-formatted like data format that you can use. So
Now,
yeah, you would.
I was going to say there's been kind of some hesitation for the Echoes community because we know online has had their zKillboard for such a long time. Do you think it would benefit the Echoes community to be able to see this type of data?
Yes, yeah, I do think it's really cool. I mean, I think it's a big part of EVE Online. People really like to brag about their kills, to show what they killed. And intel is really important in this game. You want to know what your enemies kill, where they are, what they usually fly, and having access to a kill board gives you that. But since here we don't have API, we don't have that. And it's also a problem that I thought about is if you make your kill mails public, it's kind of giving away information about what you do to your potential enemies. So a lot of corporations and alliances ask me explicitly if the data that my bot parsed was going to be made public. And they say they didn't want this data to be made public. That's why for now, this parser I made is just an internal tool, and like data is compartmented. What you upload on your server can only be accessed on your server, so other corporations will not see it.
Ah, that's interesting. So you kind of give them
Yeah,
an edge. They can kind of use it for their internal team, but it's not going to be displayed. That's interesting. So it's a little bit different in terms of approach. Now, what were some of the challenges that you faced, Hex? I know that Drac was talking about, pulling in names. What are some of the challenges that you encountered?
yeah, pulling the names is one of the most difficult just because of different languages. So you have Latin characters, then you have Cyrillic, and then you have Chinese characters, you have Japanese characters. So those you can literally forget about parsing, because even the best OCR technology in the world, like even Google Lens, can fail to read Japanese or Chinese sometimes. So this, basically, my bot cannot read if there is a Chinese player name. That
Gotcha.
was one difficulty. And the second big difficulty was just fixing errors of OCR. So for example, sometimes you have a little error in the system name, but since you already know every system in the game, you can kind of write an algorithm that will fix those errors.
Now, Jack, do you think that you've had to be especially creative just because of the lack of API? Like, was it kind of fun making this without having that API because you almost have to go the extra mile to make your tool work?
Yeah. No, actually, no. I would have loved just for someone to give me the data and I can make an interface for it and display it and make funny or useful statistics. One thing I did with EE Kills is that I've got my own API set up and others can access the kill data. Not sure, but most of you should know Eve's Eye. It's a mapping tool used for Eve Online, and he set it up for Eve Echoes as well. And I provided him, for example, my API, and he can display pod and ship kills in his map. And this is the great part about open data, in my view. A big problem, just to add it, I was facing, or I'm still facing, is that NetEase messed up, and they messed up big. They use a kill time according to your location in the world. And the big problem with that is they just don't account to daylight savings time. They just ignore it,
Hmm.
which is when I'm posting a kill in Germany at the moment, where I'm at +1 UTC, it's correct. But after Saturday, I'm at +2 UTC. And that's when the kill time just is wrong. So what I'm doing when someone's posting a kill, I'm looking at your browser settings and getting your real time zone from there, which is accounting for daylight savings time as well, and then just use this and use the kill time generated by Eve Echoes.
And it seems like it would be a smarter idea almost to time it out by UTC, where it's everybody is familiar with this time zone, and it could just make it a little bit easier to track. But that's actually kind of an interesting point that I hadn't really thought about, and just the time zones. But I could see how that can present a lot of challenges when you're building out your tool. Now, Drac, you told me that you built some other tools. Do you want to kind of explain what other tools that you've built for Echoes?
Yeah, just one addendum to this point. I actually talked to a developer over on Discord from NetEase, and yeah, he asked me, I have to make sure what EVE Online does because I don't really know. And what EVE Online does is they just use UTC,
Hmm.
which is the right way. The other tools I made, for once, I made a loot splitting tool, which is used for splitting loot gained in anomalies or in dead spaces and stuff like that, where you enter when using the autocomplete field every item you looted with your fleet, and then you enter the pilots, and after it tries to split the loot equally between the pilots. For the alliance I'm in, which is the Honey Badgers and Quarius, I've built a material buyback program, for example, with a backend that either uh, gets the prices from the market from Eve Echoes API, the unofficial one, of course. And on the other side, I build a store with a big storefront where you can, add ships as an indie char and just sell them to your alliance. I also made Echoes Pay, which is like eBay, but for Eve Echo stuff. It's used a bit, but not as much as I hoped for in the beginning. But by now it's fine. It's used by some people, and that's okay for me.
That's always kind of one of the hardships of building these tools. And I think that's also why it would be nice to have this API. You get your data, you have your tools, and then you can just make a bunch of
Yeah.
different things and see what sticks with people. It's almost harder to test when you have to kind of go through all these hoops and loops and jumps and scoops just to build an interface or a tool to begin with. So I'm kind of curious, Hex, what other kind of tools would you be interested in creating?
Well, first I want to just talk about NetEase because I didn't even know about the daylight saving problem, but I noticed another problem with the time zone is they only write like plain, like whole number time zones, like UTC +1, +2, +3. But actually there are parts of the world with half-hour time zones. For example, in India, a lot of people are UTC +5:30, I think. And so they write +5, but the time is in 5:30. So basically the time is wrong by half an hour. So yeah,
What?
they messed up really wrong on this. And tools that I would be interested. Well, actually, I wrote a few other tools too during my journey in Ivecourse. I have a tool that is no longer used because now we are kind of paid to kill people. But when we were still doing PvE and farming anomalies, we had a tool where people would just clock in when they started farming anomalies with you, with a fleet, and they would clock out when they went to, I don't know, eat or when they just stopped playing. And at the end of a day, one looter would loot and sell all the loot, and he would share the income he gained by selling this loot on the market based on the time every person farmed in this fleet. So yeah, it was just kind of a farm shift bot, tracking bot.
Oh, that's cool. It's kind of funny to clock in, clock out. It almost sounds
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
job.
yeah. It was kind of a fun way to track people presence.
Yeah, actually, I'm kind of stuck on the NetEase thing with this time. I gotta think about that because is that like dangerous in terms of security? I mean, it kind of also lets people know where you're from in the world, if you think about it, right? depending on your kill?
Well, it does, but only if you post your screenshot. Yeah. But yeah, I think it's crazy that like developers didn't even think about those time zones, especially when it's something that has been studied and it is like a known problem for developers, like dealing with time zones. There are libraries that do it perfectly, and they chose to display it in a like kind of unique way. Like why? I don't really get it.
Yeah, wouldn't it be easier just to put it in UTC time zone?
Yeah, for sure, it would be easier.
Interesting. Well, it is what it is. There's definitely lots of different improvements. I mean, Drac, do you have any other kind of improvements or features that you think NetEase could add to Echoes that would improve the overall game?
It's a problem. At the moment, I'm thinking a big problem is the lack of content. You see that systems get emptier by each week, but with the next content update in April, end of April or May, we should see more people. Another point would be more than just a kill API. When you look at EVE Online, you've got so much APIs. You've got an official market API, which you can use for all kinds of stuff. You can let someone just calculate the ship costs using official values, or you can read and manipulate the autopilot in EVE Online. Because back in the day, I wrote a tool where you could set your route from outside the game, and it just takes it and flies the route. So there's a lot of improvements NetEase can actually make, and I'm really looking forward to the future of this game, because I think they want to make something just different than CCP, but I think in the end they will come through. And if you look at what they accomplished so far, it's just great, because it's still a mobile game.
100%. I will say that I've played quite a few different mobile games, and this still, I would say, is probably the best mobile game that I've played in terms of just overall gameplay. It definitely would be nice to be able to access some more data reports in terms of like active player base and just different things like that. What data specifically would you be interested in seeing?
Market data, I would say.
Market data?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Yeah, market data
why
is so
specifically?
Because in this game everything costs money and everything is basically player made. Like every structure in space, every station, every ship you have to build, and so it costs money. And so like the price of things is just one really important thing in this game. And the price fluctuates every day, so following those price, having graphics and everything is really useful.
Now, since you both were EVE Online players, would you say that the market and the economy is a really great experience in Echoes? Do you think that it kind of meets the same level?
No. I would say no. It's completely different. Big problems that NetEase implemented is high tax. You see a lot of station trading in EVE Online, and you rarely see enough Echoes, for example. Another thing is that, just to get back to Hexa about the importance of the market API, simply the fact a lot of guys are using the unofficial one. And when it came to a halt for about 2 weeks, every tool in New Eden Echoes got just stopped working. So it would be just nice to have someone official give you data what you can play with. Because even if it's a mobile game, it's still EVE, and EVE is all about the community and the tools
100%.
and the data.
100%. I've always been curious to see if NetEase will end up doing some sort of specific like partner program where you have to qualify as, and then you can maybe access API. But we definitely know that they've been they hold their cards a little closer than CCP did for API. So it'll be interesting to see if they down the road are open to this idea. I know a lot of people have been interested specifically in it for sure. So,
and it will be interesting to see how NetEase is implementing the API. Because when you look at CCP and EVE Online, when they first came up with a way to share kill mails, it was just a string of data with the players involved, with the ships involved, with the items, what dropped, what didn't drop. And the string could be parsed by zKillboard, for example, and then made to a kill mail. Only later they came up with the official API using link where you can fetch the data. And I would be totally fine if NetEase just would go the easy route for the beginning, and we have to parse the data ourselves and not get a ready XML or JSON file. But yeah, we will see.
I remember when we
Yeah,
were.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
go
no,
ahead.
knowing the past of Eve Online, it's even kind of surprising they didn't come up with an API right from the beginning, because I think everybody who played Eve Online knows that this game is played as much outside the game that inside the game. There are spreadsheets everywhere using APIs and tools. And yeah, they didn't even have, I think, a team to dev an API. When the community asked for a Killmail API, they were like, oh, well, okay, we will maybe hire a team to develop this API. And they started hiring people on Discord. Actually, I think you can still go on Discord and submit an application to be hired for this API. But we asked, and you need to move to China, so you need to be ready to commit.
Yeah,
That's what they told me as well, because I was really interested in that position.
Yeah.
It would be just awesome to create an API.
haven't they learned just even through the pandemic, everything can be done remote?
Yeah.
So true, so true. Well, well, it'll be interesting to see if they end up building it out, and it'll be, I mean, whoever ends up deciding they want to move to China for that, but that would be a really cool step forward for Echoes, I definitely think. Um, so we're gonna be closing out the show pretty soon, but before we go, is there anything you would like to do, or give a shout out for, or any last comments you would like to make? Any shout out?
Okay, well, I will shout out my tool then. So it's called IfBot, and I think you will find the link to the documentation website in the description. It's ifbot.hexalyse.se. So it's a bit complicated. Go click the link in the description. You have a website with all the documentation on how to use it. And we just set up, by the way, a Discord server where you can get support and help if you have any problem with this bot. And yeah, just join the Discord server, you click on create ticket, and you can get the bot on your server in a few minutes.
Excellent, excellent. And Drac, any shout outs you want to give to your alliance?
Yeah. If you're looking for really fun in this game and a tight knit group, you should definitely check out the Honey Badgers in Quarius. And yeah, it would be great if you join them and rack some kills and then post them on EE Kills. You will find the link down below as well.
Sweet, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Capsulars, for joining us and checking out these kill boards for Eve Echoes. We'll be seeing you in Echoes, and fly safe.